Oh, we'll start off with a Blitz game or two. You know, I might stick with Blitz this time because my Blitz rating has fallen into a sad state. Be nice to bring it back up. Okay, we can play a Ruy Lopez here. He plays the old or original Steinitz variation. And I'll just play it simply. I'll go ahead and take the knight. And yeah, they often take back with the pawn. I guess because this is a good piece, this bishop, they don't necessarily want to trade it off, but my bishop is fine too. Not a bad piece at all. So could I castle here? I castle, he takes the pawn, I play rook here. Plays the pawn up to support the knight. I have to drop my bishop back. Then he unpins. So I guess I have to defend that pawn. So let's just castle. It's a pretty normal position. Both sides have the bishop pair. So neither side has any material advantage. There's a slight weakness on the king side over here, the queen side in black's camp, but it's nothing, not a big deal. And black's position is a little short of space. I have more space than black. These are pretty small differences at this point. I'll try and stay active with my pieces here. I push this pawn forward to give my bishop a hideaway on h2. So now he wants to trade the light-squared bishop. So I take, he has to take back with the pawn. It'll open up the f-file. I don't know if I want that. I think I will keep the bishop on this time. I might be interested in pushing the e-pawn forward at the right time. If I do it now, for example, he can't ignore it and push past. He has to respond because I will be taking his knight otherwise. So he goes first, yeah. And it's probably a smart thing to do. Let's go ahead and take. So I've straightened out his pawns a bit. Let's put a rook on the open file. Knight to b5 might be an interesting idea, looking at that square. So he pins my knight. Yeah, let's unpin. I think I'll follow up with a3 and b4. If he doesn't take, that'll bring his bishop around to defend c7. Oh, he just goes back right away. So now I could play knight here. Might be an accomplishment to grab the bishop pair. So he avoids that, but now I can attack that c7 square. And if he moves his bishop back to b4, I can kick it with c3, like so. If he moves the pawn forward, I can still play knight to c7. It's forking the rook and the bishop. Might be worthwhile. Maybe win a pawn on, let's erase those. I might win a pawn on that square. Yeah, so he drops back to defend. Now I could put my knight here. No, not right away. Is there any way to increase the pressure on c7? Don't see it. I could push my a-pawn forward, maybe. But if I do this and he plays c6, I go here, he goes here, kicking my knight. I think I want to play this first. Play c3. So if he kicks my knight, I have the d4 square available for the knight. Looking at this again. Of course, that's not the greatest bishop in the world, but he wants to keep it. So it's starting to look interesting over here. I could think about bringing my knight into f5. Let's bring the queen over first. The queen here. I guess I can't play queen g3 because he will just play knight to h5. If I go queen g3, he'll go knight h5, forking those pieces. But now there's a possibility of a sacrifice here on h6 maybe, if he doesn't trade. Knight takes with check, so he decides to trade. Okay. I wasn't entirely sure that sacrifice was sound, but it looked kind of interesting. So next I'm bringing the other rook to the center. I'm going to try and keep control of the light squares with my light squared bishop. Yeah, but most places I go, he can just trade it off. But there is one possibility here. Let's take first and blockade with this bishop. And I've set up a tactic here. Let's see if he spots it. I would have liked to maybe hit his rook with my bishop, but his knight would just take that. Okay, yeah, he left the tactic there. So have you spotted it yet? I can take here, right? Is there anything wrong with this? If he takes back, I take his knight. Could maybe have played, oh, it couldn't have played until the bishop was out of the way. There is maybe an idea of queen f5. I guess the knight is defending h7 means queen f5 doesn't do much. So yeah, it looks like my opponent played a good game. And okay, still can't take the bishop. He's hitting a pawn over here. Did I miss something? Oh, yeah, I missed something. Ah, yes, these guys are getting clever here, huh? I missed that my rook needs the queen to defend it, so I can't take the knight anymore. But he did weaken his king side over here. So I'm not giving up yet. Anyway, I guess this is why my rating has dropped down. Miss things like that. Ah, I moved his knight just in time. Okay, so I have this move or this move. Is one of them better than the other? This move keeps the knight from coming back to... So I won on time. Interesting. So yeah, Anoop played a good game. Here, let's check what his rating history is. He's been up and down, up to 1800 or so. Yep, he played a good game. Here, let's see if we can get another game. Okay, e4, e5. I'm going with the old classics, I guess. See if we get an Italian game. Yeah, very popular these days, the Italian game. That's an unusual move. Okay, well, I should probably still just develop and attack the center as normal. Now I'll pause to prevent the pin. With the bishop outside the pawn chain, this pin with the bishop here was especially annoying. So, because of dark squared bishop being outside the pawn chain. So stopping the pin allows me to play with d6 like this. So it's a very normal position. Very symmetrical, actually. Entirely symmetrical. I can castle here. Yeah, I think I can. And yeah, he challenges my bishop. I don't want to open up the f-file, so I drop my bishop back. If he takes, it'll open up the a file for my rook. I'll take back and I'll have this file. Although it is not, I'm not, in my experience, found a lot of use for the rook on this file, but it's there anyway. It's an idea. I could go after his bishop now. It'd be good to do something active before he launches his attack with f4 there, which he's going to do. Yeah, he's going to play f4 real shortly. Yeah, let's go ahead and get rid of that bishop on this diagonal. So, got to take here, I guess. Well, I could develop my bishop. Don't have to take. But actually, taking drags his queen away from. Drags his queen away from. I realized maybe he could come in with his queen and attack this pawn, and it wasn't so easy to defend it. And maybe my bishop would do better here. So now I've got my pawns defended over here. I have a pretty symmetric position. I can play knight to knight h5 to kick his rook. I think, though, let's leave it there for a minute. What I really want to do is play d5 here to open up the center a little more for my bishop. And I want to do it at a time when he can't play... I want to play d5 when he can't play e5. So I put the queen here, so if he pushes on with e5, I can just take it. And looks like he wants to harass my bishop. Here, let's go ahead with the d5 plan. If he pushes the b pawn again, I'll just take it. He takes here, I can take with the knight. He pushes here, I take with the queen. If he does nothing, I will take his pawn. Yeah, let's take with the knight here. The queen. He opened up this diagonal for his queen to look at the g2 square. g7, rather. When he pushed the b pawn forward. I think that was his idea. And now he's coordinating with the rook, but let's just defend from the side like this. I think this is good enough. Queen defends, and I'll ask his rook to politely vacate the premises. In fact, his rook is a little short of squares, isn't it? He can go to f5, f4. The rook can go to f4, or can come down to g6. Yeah, he decided to go there. And why not? So I could take here now. I'm looking at this check. It's not about the pawn. It's about the check here. I realize that I've left my queen and knight in a line there, so the knight is momentarily pinned. But I can unpin with check. He can block with the queen. But I think I'm ahead here, actually. I'm up a couple pawns at this point. So if he wants to trade down to an endgame, I should be okay with that. Yeah, so let's go for the check. Yeah, now what? Hit the rook again? Yeah, the rook is trapped, right? So I probably played that in the wrong order. I probably should have gone for the rook trap right away. Bit dangerous opening up my king like that. so maybe there's some backfire here, but if he has to give up a whole rook, it's hard to believe that this is good enough for him. Oh, he didn't give up a rook. It was like an exchange. He gave up the rook for the... he gave up a rook. I guess here. A rook for the piece he took here. What was that? That was a knight there? Yeah, he gave up a rook for a knight. Anyway, I'm just stepping my queen out of the side to the side. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at this. And there is also checks on the dark squared diagonal here. Can be a bit tricky when white has all these knights hopping about. Yeah, maybe queen here check, and then I can move the bishop with tempo. Oh, I have to chase this knight away first so that this guy is unprotected. Ah, well this is just asking for me to kick that knight, right? The knight can't go anywhere with check, and and his queen is undefended back there. Now, okay, that saves him for the moment. But yeah, he's just going to be down massive amounts of material now. Okay, he resigned. Yeah, he can't move the knight. He had to trade queens, and then I'd just be up a rook, so I'd be winning in that case too. Okay, so I am gradually improving my rating here. Let's see what I got up to. Up to 1752. That's nice. Over 1750 again. Let's start with d4 this time. See what black is going for a Nimzo Indian, it looks like. Always glad to play it. Oh, he's going for a queen's gambit declined, just in a different move order. That's fine too. Let's bring the knight out and see what his next move is. You know, you can play with the bishop out here, but I rarely do that. I almost always go with this e3 setup. Yeah, I'm just going to stick with that. It allows black to gain a tempo by taking the c-pawn, but I don't have to keep worrying about whether I can hold on to the c-pawn or win it back, that kind of thing. And this is the perfect setup for a Greek gift sacrifice if black is incautious. He has to this knight has to be gone, and he has to castle and has to leave that pawn there. But sometimes you can arrange that by by pushing pawns forward in the center, which is what I will start to do. The move e4 is now looking very attractive. e4, e5, and he's castled. There's still no Greek gift sacrifice because the queen and the bishop are lined up on that square, so it's still not in the cards, but we're getting closer. So instead of playing pawn to e5, I can also play knight to e5. No, he takes the d pawn then. Yeah, I don't have a great discovery with the bishop. So I go pawn to e5. He's going to play knight to d5. Yeah, it's all right. I will put up with that. And if I ever want to, I can trade a knight off, or maybe he will decide to trade and strengthen my center. So it would be all good. Well, let's just control this square. Control the b4 square so his knight can't cop in here. Then I can drop my bishop back and play my queen up and just threaten checkmate. Like I said, the Greek gift sacrifice doesn't work because he still has control of this square. You want to be able to follow up the bishop takes with the knight here. He wants to play there. Yeah, that's a good move. I can't argue with that. What to do here? Drop the bishop back anyway. He takes, I take. Let's put the rook here. If he's going to be taking this pawn, then the e-pawn will be weakened, so I wanted to strengthen that. So I'm thinking I can take with the knight. He can try and unleash a discovered attack, for example, by my knight takes knight, but I take with the pawn defending my knight. Could go there. Take his knight, he takes my knight. I think I'm okay. We shall see. So I can still play bishop c2, bishop c2 and queen d3. Yeah, it's too bad I can't play queen d3 first, so I need to protect the c-pawn. What's the best way to do that? It's so slow to play queen d2 and then bishop c2 and then queen c3. Can I just ignore it? Ah, yeah, I can. I put my bishop back, he takes. I bring my queen up, and I'm threatening mate. Yeah, okay. That works. So I'm indirectly defending the c-pawn by the mate threat. So he didn't take it, didn't buy the bait. Probably, yeah, g6 is the move there. I can develop my bishop now, harass his rook a little bit, but it's not doing a whole lot there. Knight here hitting his queen and then jumping into here. Well, it gets the bishop off the back rank, so I can bring my rooks out. Could have grabbed a pawn, I suppose, but I would have grabbed his rook. So now I do have to worry about this pawn, I guess. Let's see if he can do anything here. Yeah, I'm not at all sure about this position. See where his queen goes. I think he has to move his queen. I don't think he can do a discovered attack on my queen because I take his queen, he takes my queen, then I take his rook. Yeah, maybe he can move his knight somewhere to take my bishop, but at least I would win the exchange there. So yeah, getting to a tricky position here. I'm a little low on time too. It goes there. Yeah, so I was thinking I kick the knight, but then he's going to move it. But then I could put my knight here. He takes, I take, he takes, and then I could get on the dark squares. But he's put his queen all the way up here. Makes that hard. Makes that difficult. If I push the pawn forward and he moves the knight, I have to move my queen. And where can he go with the knight? He can go here, 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 here. He can just take that pawn. Oh, but I would take back with the queen in that case. How about I play this and force him to move the knight? And then when he moves the knight, I'll move my queen. I think I can protect everything. I don't think he wins material here. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. And yeah, I'm down to 38 seconds here, so definitely going to have to move a little faster. So I thought I would step aside somewhere. I'm not entirely sure where. Oh, he's attacking this pawn. So that is actually winning material, huh? So he goes after the knight. Let's get my rook to the center. Yeah, he does that. Take, take. He's hitting here. Okay. Yeah, I didn't really have time to play that out. He won another pawn. Right, because my rook got distracted. Here, let's kick that knight. I did not have time to figure that one out. But I do see that I can bring my rook to the to the second rank here. Huh. Yeah, he's doing well. It is trouble for me. And what can I do to, yeah, let's harass his rook a bit, go after those pawns. Let's get rid of all the pawns I can. He can take pawns too, of course. Now, let's see, what can we do over here against his king? So he gives up the rook in order to get a simpler win in the endgame here. And the bishops are the same color, so not much going on here. Not much I can do here. Yeah, he can push that pawn forward. Okay, he won that one, fair and square. Here, let's see if we can get one more game.